Hello everyone, welcome to Scorcher Toys at Anymoon.com's review of Bandai's High Metal R Battletech Archer. No? Robotech Gladiator. Still not right. Macross Umber 7 McTwo. Alright, getting warmer. Destroyed Spartan toy. This toy was released in May 2017 for 6,800 yen. Inside the Tenjin decorated box, you got 4 sets of fixed posed hands, a club for beating bad guy skulls, and a set of instructions. High Metal R toys are essentially non-scale, running the range from 180 scale, like we see over here with the 19 centimeter tall Regold, to about 184 scale, with the Spartan at about 13.5 centimeters, and 189 scale with the VF1 toys a little bit more than 14 centimeters tall. Now, if you have a Mach 2 monster toy in this line, it's almost a perfect 1/100 scale. There is definitely a range there, and that range should line up fairly well with sort of how the toys seemed within the actual animation, rather than their published stats for how tall they are. Although again, kind of within the range that seems reasonable. If you have some of the classic Spartan toys, like the old Takatoku, this is what it looks like in comparison at 1/144 scale. And then there's the Playmates or Matchbox version of this toy, which for the longest time was the only toy of any real scale that you could get your hands on. And that is more like 16 centimeters tall, almost 172 scale, 171. So that's how it's going to shape up to other toys you have. All right, let's talk gimmicks, and in particular the weapons bays. There's these missile bays on the shoulder, and as I open this up, you will see that the missiles actually slide forward. So that's pretty cool. Also, once I collapse these and put everything back where it goes, there's no big hinge showing anywhere, just a little bit of a tooth in the front. So that is pretty cool. Also some beautiful tampo print work, black detail work, nice molding, very high marks all the way across as you get close up on this toy. This little sensor array below pivots, and then this door opens up and the gun slides forward just like the missiles did. So that's pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, it can tooth in pretty tight and be a little difficult to open. And you can see my toy actually already has a little bit of paint wear right on the front. It looks like the paint was not on perfectly smoothly in the first place. And in pulling open that door, a little piece of paint chipped right off. So one very minor durability concern there. Now, I didn't mention any stickers coming with this toy because they don't. All of the markings you see on this toy were on there straight from the factory and are painted on. It's quite nice. This gun in the back pivots up and down. It also rotates around. So that's pretty cool to see. No gimmicks here, and this little door at the top does not open. It's molded shut. If this was a larger toy, we'd expect to be able to pop that open and see a cockpit in there. Also, some of the line art shows some sort of a back door here. Nothing going on, just molded in detail. That looks pretty nice, and certainly as many gimmicks or more than I would expect at this scale. All right, let's continue looking at the articulation of the toy. Now this arm, you can rotate it all the way around at the shoulder, and you can come away from the body, completely perpendicular with the ground. There's then a rotation point right at about the elbow. There's the elbow itself, which is a little bit more than 90 degrees, as you can see there. The hands are on a peg, and you can go ahead and swivel those and pop them off. I'll show you that in just a moment. Moving down, things get a little bit weird. You have the waist, which is not the whole bell turning. It's the toy on top of the bell, or the torso on top of the bell. So if you have like the old Playmates toy, it's actually the whole bell that spins around. The body's connected to it. But on this toy, and probably more accurately, the torso spins on top of the rounded waist, which is cool. Now, if you wanted to, you can also pivot forward, and there is a big metal hinge inside. So we can go ahead and extend that hinge. There we go. Get you a nice big extension there. And then that lets you pivot the whole torso way up. or bring it back, or do some weird stuff with it. So that is almost gratuitous in how much range of motion you have there, which is always cool. The hips themselves have the ability to pivot downward, which then clears your range of motion from there. You can bring the leg back about that far. You can bring it forward about that far. You can obviously bring it quite a bit out. So there's limited range of movement in the hips, but certainly enough to have fun with it. Moving down to the knees, and also obviously you can angle the legs outward. Moving down to the knees, there's a double extension at the knees, which is pretty cool. There's an extension at the top and the bottom. So there you can see the extension at the top, then at the bottom, allowing you to get a pretty nice range of motion there. Now obviously this is not a VF1 toy that's going to have a gear walk joint or something. Moving down, there's another sort of extension hinge, like we saw on the waist at the feet. That way you get the foot way down. You can then, there's also a hinge underneath the foot, and it's on a ball joint where it connects to that hinge. And as you can see, metal here, metal in the waist and hips, metal in that hinge there, and if you can see it in there, metal in the arm. So tons of metal in all the joints where you really want it to be, and that lets you get the foot, also metal right there, that lets you get your foot into whatever position, lets you get the other joints into whatever position, and no real worries that you're going to be breaking this toy at any of the critical joints. So all good stuff there. You can have a lot of fun getting this toy into some pretty cool poses. And that will probably begin with popping off the hands, throwing the club on, and grabbing some of your other toys. Let's go ahead and do that. Your toy comes with two sets of optional hands. There's an open hand like this, which is good for slapping a club in. And then there's the club holding hand, which looks like this. And then there's the club, which of course looks like this. Now there's not a whole lot to this club. It just slides right in. Now one thing to notice though is that the width of the barrel there is the same as the width of the barrel of a gun from a VF1 toy. So if you need a club in a pinch, you can always grab the gun off one of your VF1 toys and throw it in the handle there, or in the hand there, and I'm sure that can lead to some more fun when posing things. So you just pull that hand right off, expose the peg, plop that fixed posed hand in, fits nice and securely and rotates on there, and then you can have fun clubbing the bad guys. Pretty cool. You can swing it around since the hand goes pivot. You can make it look like it's swinging that way. Obviously, you can have a lot of fun doing whatever you want, making this guy look like he is going to town on some bad guys, which is always fun. So, play factor, a plus. Now, for you sticklers of line art accuracy, I've got a couple examples of line art, and I think it's important to remember that line art varies from sample to sample. So here you can see the schematics. The line art looks pretty slender. This toy is a little on the beefier side, but in this piece of line art, you can see a little bit beefier example of the Spartan, and the toy is capturing the likeness very well. So I would say this toy overall does a great job of hitting that middle ground between super chunky animation and more slender schematics. And this toy doesn't come with a Tamashii stage axe stand, but it should, because you can get crazy fun looking jumping and attacking with the club poses. So that also will add to your fun factor. Now it does just have a little peg hole in the bottom to accommodate those stands, and the stands are fairly cheap, so those stands also highly recommended. And overall, so is this toy. 6,800 yen is not exactly cheap for a non-transformable toy, but it's got a lot of heft to it, a lot of articulation, a lot of fun factor just all around, and it's your chance to finally own a really decent Spartan toy. Or Battletech Archer, or Robotech Gladiator, whatever your flavor, folks. Alright, so check out anymoon.com for my full review, and as always, thanks for watching.